Everyone, hello, everyone, hello. Thank you for being patient. My name is Kia from She Rises Again, NikiaQuinn.com, and I am your host. I am your host. My new podcast is called Soul Food. Soul Food is my new podcast, and I will be going through a series called Women Who Love Too Much. Women who love too much. Women who love too much, these are the women who find themselves being in love, consider themselves being in love, but instead they're in pain. Um, these are the women who becomes obsessive, who does not understand the difference between love, pain, and obsession. This is why women who love too much becomes obsessed with the wrong men. These are men who are emotionally unavailable. These are men who are addicted to work. These are men who are addicted to alcohol. These are men who are addicted to other women. So I am here to help you recognize behavior patterns if you find yourself attracted to troubled, distant men. If you find yourself dismissing the nice guy and calling the nice guy boring. If you find yourself empty without this man, although the relationship is torment. So this is an interactive journey, and this journey is meant to help you reflect, write your thoughts down on paper so that you can discover a journey of healing. As women, we should be able to discover a journey of healing. So let's get started. I am your host, Kia, and welcome to my podcast called Soul Food. And this series, season 1, episode 1, is about the woman who loves too much. So let's go ahead and get started with the podcast. If you are a woman and you would like to take this journey with me, grab a pen, grab a composition book, grab something close to you so that you can write down these thoughts with me. I'll start the reading process now. This is my first chapter, and I'll read to you the chapter. After this, we'll go through a journaling process. The woman who stays too long. This is about the woman who stays too long. This is what that woman normally says to herself. She says to herself, I knew he wasn't good for me, but I stayed anyway. This is the woman who says to herself, I knew he was not good for me, but I stayed anyway. I stayed anyway 15 years. I stayed anyway 13 years. I stayed anyway 5 years. I stayed anyway 30 years. I stayed anyway 40 years. There's a silence in the hearts of those women who stays too long. It's the kind of silence that comes from peace. It's the kind that comes from walking on eggshells. This is not the silence that comes from peace. This is the woman who finds herself holding her breath, waiting on the good version of him to come back. She's still waiting 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, 30 years for the good version of this man to arrive, to show up, or maybe even return. This is how much hope that she does have in this man. She finds herself pretending that she's okay, but her soul is quietly falling apart. She finds herself pretending that she's okay, but her soul is falling apart. In this instance, staying becomes a habit for this woman. Staying becomes a habit because she tells herself he's not going through something. It'll get better. It'll get better soon. He's not going through. He's going through something. It'll get better soon. He'll get better soon. I just have to love harder. I just have to love him harder so that he loves me back. But what happens when this type of woman finds herself in love with him? She tries to love him so hard that there's nothing else left in you because you've given everything. You've given your mind, your body, and your soul to this man, and there's nothing left in you. He has bled you dry and left you empty. You're running on empty. You're running on empty. So this is for the woman who won't give up until she breaks. This is for the woman who will not give up until she breaks. You're ignoring the warning signs. You're ignoring the warning signs. You're ignoring the warning signs that you're running on empty. You're confused about your patience. You're confused about your purpose. You mix trauma with loyalty. You mix trauma with loyalty. You wear your pain like perfume. You wear your pain like your jewelry. You wear your pain like your hair. You wear your pain like your perfume. Hoping that it will attract love, but you're only drawing more hurt. You stayed too long in relationships that drained you. It devalued you. It defined you. These type of relationships, for some reason, you have considered defining you as a woman because this is who you became to be. This is who you became. You thought that loving him would fix what was broken in the both of you. You thought that loving him will fix what was broken in the both of you. But the truth is, you only want to learn the hard way. There's no amount of love you can save a man who's not ready to be saved. If the man is not ready to be saved, you cannot save him. You are not the chosen one in these type of relationships when women love too much. You cannot save a man who does not want to be saved by you. He doesn't want to be saved by you. And it's not your job to be his savior. It's not your job to be his savior. He does not want to be saved by you. It's your job to be on your own and to save yourself. Your responsibility is you to be on your own, to save yourself from the pain, from the heartbreak, from the bleeding, from being devalued, from being broken. It's your job to save you. I have a question for you to write and reflect. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. I have a question for you to answer. If you are this type of woman who loves too much, this is an interactive podcast. Grab a paper, a pen near you so that you can write, reflect, so that you can hear yourself think. It's important to develop the art of writing. Writing helps you hear yourself think. It helps you hear your thoughts. So the question I have to ask you, what have you tolerated in the name of love that your spirit actually rejected, but you ignored it? What have you tolerated in the name of love that your spirit rejected? This means you ignored it. If your spirit is rejecting the warning, what have you tolerated in the name of love that your spirit rejected? I'll give you some privacy, just a minute or two to answer that question. We'll return back at 9:48. Just a minute to answer that question. What have you tolerated in the name of love that your spirit actually rejected? I'll give you some examples. Verbal abuse. Have you tolerated verbal abuse? Have you tolerated him devaluing you, speaking mean to you, being nonchalant towards you, being impatient towards you consistently, being unloving towards you consistently, being verbally abusive consistently, being physically abusive? What have you tolerated in the name of love that your spirit actually rejected? I'll give you some privacy to answer that question. The next question I have for you is, what would it look like to finally choose yourself? What would life look like for you if you finally chose yourself? Would it be peace? Would it be consistency? Would it be happiness? Would it be power? Would it be liking yourself? Would it be self-care? Would it be taking care of yourself? What would life look like if you finally chose yourself? Say this affirmation with me. I am no longer available for love that costs me my peace. I am no longer available for love that costs me my peace. I am no longer available for love that costs me my peace. This lesson is for you to identify that you've stayed too long. But if you want to, you can rise even stronger. But if you want to recognize this is you, recognize that you've stayed too long, that you are worthy to be at peace, that you are worthy to be loved. You are worthy to be loved, that you are beautiful, that worthiness is not owned. Worthiness is owned. Worthiness is owned. You already are worthy. It is not earned. You will never earn your worthiness or your place with Him. You will never earn your worthiness or your place with Him. Because He draws from every other woman's cup except for your own. You will never be the chosen one. You will never be the chosen one. You cannot love him any harder than what you already have done in order to him to accept you as the chosen one. There's nothing else that you can do for him but continue to waste your time, waste your life, waste your energy. Just take a moment to reflect if this is you, if this is you. If you could remember one particular night, maybe sitting on the bathroom floor, silently crying. If you could remember your body being tired, that your thoughts was racing. I'll read this to you about a woman who stayed too long. She says, I remember one night in particular, I was sitting on the bathroom floor, shaking silently. My body was tired. My heart was louder than my thoughts. He walked out again, walked out the house with no explanation, no call, no apology. And still, I left the door unlocked just in case if he decided to come back, just in case if he needed me. I was the woman who stayed, she says, through the lies. She stayed through the broken promises. She stayed through the nights where she cried herself to sleep next to the man who wouldn't even hold her while she was crying herself to sleep. She asked herself this question, you know what hurt most? It wasn't what he did. It was what I allowed. She recognizes that she allowed this behavior all these years. She's making herself accountable that she allowed this behavior all these years. She says that I taught him how to treat me every time I forgave him without change. I silenced myself to keep the relationship loud. She says I confused chaos with passion because I didn't know what peace felt like. I didn't know what love felt like. She says, I had to face the hard truth. I was addicted to his potential. I fell in love with who he could be, not who he was. And somewhere in that mess, I lost myself. If you are this woman, I would challenge you to write a letter to the version of yourself that stayed. Write a letter to the version of yourself that stayed. Ask yourself, what does she need to hear today? Ask yourself, what does you need to hear today to help you help yourself identify if you are a woman in pain or if you are a woman in love. There's a difference between being in pain and being in love and in a healthy relationship. Again, my name is Kia. I am your host. Thank you for joining my first podcast, Season 1, Episode 1. Thank you for joining my podcast called Soul Food. I'll be with you weekly to have a conversation about the woman who loves too much. Take a look at the replay. When you do watch the replay, grab a paper, a composition book, a pen, so that you can help reflect on your thoughts, answer those questions, listen to the replay, drink some coffee, relax, chill. I'm here to walk you through this process. Again, my name is Kia. I am your host. Thank you for joining Soul Food. This will be a weekly podcast. Season 1, Episode 1, we will be discussing a woman who loves too much. Connect with me if you do need a community of like-minded women. My website is nikiaquinn.com. NAKIAQUINN, nikiaquinn.com. Thank you for joining Soul Food. I am your host, Nikia Quinn. Bye-bye.